Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 3, Theory and Paradigm, and our topic is Contemporary Period of Modern Sociological Theories. The contemporary period of modern sociological theories could be seen as an important departure from its classical period. During the classical period, the central question has been to establish sociology as an independent discipline. But during the contemporary period, the main concern has been not only to come out of that classical image, but also to carry on the subject further. During this contemporary period, the scholars try to learn from some of the previous shortcomings in the works of the scholars who did some of the previous researches after Durkheim, Weber and Marx. During this period, the learning from the mistakes of the immediate past, taking the inspirations from the works of the classical sociologists and rebuilding the subject have been the main concerns. In the context, it seems relevant to mention the names of two important sociologists who have made their significant contributions. Their works have also been accepted and recognized as important ones after the classical period. These two scholars are Talcott Parsons and Robert K. Merton. Although the works of these scholars from the USA have been accepted internationally, but here only some of their important contributions are being discussed. The first one is Parsons' action theory. Talcott Parsons 1902 to 1979 was an important sociologist from USA who had contributed on the theory of social action, discussed about the action frame of reference and social system, and lately on evolution. His contribution on what he calls it AGIL paradigm and pattern variable scheme are also well known. We shall discuss about them briefly. Talcott Parsons had the advantage of reviewing several scholars from classical sociology and some other social scientists as well. He believed that he could present an integrated theoretical points of view where all the formulations of previous social scientists would lead to. His theoretical constructions later integrated the points of view of the psychologists like Sigmund Freud, economists like Alfred Marshall, and the sociologists like Wilfredo Pareto, Emile Durkheim, and Max Weber, to name a few. He also believed that all the contributions made by various social scientists lead in one direction to arrive at, or rather converge at, one single notion of what he calls it social action. Parsons also wanted to understand how social and cultural values are internalized into personality system. In his later work, The Social System, Parsons said that the three essential components of the action are personality system, social system, and cultural system. Although each one is a part of action, but none being reducible to the other. In yet another work, Working Papers in the Theory of Action, Talcott Parsons, along with his colleagues like Robert Bales and Edward Schrill, has explained about what he calls it as the AGIL paradigm. According to A refers to adaptation, G to goal attainment, I to integration, and L to latency. Thus, AGIL paradigm developed by Parsons provided him much higher respect as he ascended towards the formulation of sociological theories at a much higher level. His another important theoretical formulation has been what he called it the pattern variable scheme. It suggested that either an individual or the community as an actor has important choices to make against two polar opposite categories. For example, whether an individual or community in general promote ascription or achievement. Alternatively, universalism or particularism. Talcott Parsons has referred to 5 sets of such alternative choices. Additionally, within these 5 sets of choices, some permutations and combinations could also be made out. For example, from the earlier referred choices mentioned here, it could be ascertained whether the choices made are for universalist achievements or alternatively particularistic ascription sort of orientation. A detailed discussion on these issues could be seen in his book The Social System. As stated earlier, Talcott Parsons has also written on medical profession and theories of evolutionism. In general, the theories of Parsons are also seen as his contribution to developing the theories of functionalism. But regarding the theories developed by him, several scholars from the Western societies as well as from elsewhere have expressed the opinion that his formulations are difficult to understand and there is a need to present it all in the simpler form. There is another criticism which is associated with his work. It has been stated by several scholars that the works of Talcott Parsons are too much theoretical in nature. Sometimes they appear as the grand theories and generally have very little to do with the existing life of today or with the empirical reality. Agreeing with all such criticisms that it is true that the Parsons theoretical formulations might appear difficult to comprehend, might not refer to the empirical material, but nonetheless they could be considered as important contributions. In the views of the preset author, such theoretical formulations are required in sociology, and the learners of sociology must attempt to comprehend such rigorous material. Talcott Parsons himself clarified that his work had remained concerned with the task of providing theoretical schemes only. According to him, then it remained the task of some other scholars or sociologists to verify and test his theories. But in order for sociology to grow as a subject, it was necessary to strike a balance between theoretical formulation and the factual information. Another sociologist, namely Robert K. Merton, has tried to move exactly in that direction. His contribution to the sociological theory are discussed in what follows. Robert K. Merton firmly believed that the whole of the functional theory could not be abandoned or discarded because some of the mistakes were committed by some of the contributors at the earlier stages. His approach was to learn from the mistakes, identify them, try to remove them, and make functional theory as a valuable approach for research investigations in sociology. Regarding social research, he explained it as an interplay between the theory and the facts. Merton's view on social research could be found in his book Social Theory and Social Structure. His views on functional theory could also be seen in the same book. While reconstructing functional theory, Merton has referred to three postulates. One, the postulate of functional unity of society. Two, the postulate of universal functionalism. And the three, the postulate of indispensability. He later suggested that such postulates, which once upon a time guided the works of some earlier sociologists, were no longer necessary. Additionally, Merton has explained about what he calls it middle range theories and its necessities in the contemporary period. Merton has also clarified in detail about what he calls it reference group theory. In this way, we could see that in his own way, Robert K. Merton tried to build up the much required ground and created the environment for the development of sociology as a scientific discipline. From the above discussion, it is now clear that both Talcott Parson as well as Robert K. Merton made great efforts to carry forward the discipline of sociology, and in this endeavor they were quite successful too. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self learning podcasts.